Welcome to the Sample Chapter Podcast, the show where authors read a sample chapter from one of their books. Here's your host, Jason A. Meiske.
Hello, Sample Chapter listeners. Welcome to episode 293. Hey, we came back last week with 292 and our guest, JC Ventimiglia. And I told you then, we had kind of an extended episode, so I didn't really have a whole lot of time to chat with you. So now this week I've got some time and just kind of catch up a little bit. Welcome back. Yeah, episode 293. I'm so thrilled to have the show going as long as it has been. Had that extended break through the holidays, actually from October on, which is very odd for me to have such a long break as what I had. It was unintended because originally my plan was to go to episode 300. I was going to make it to 300 before the end of the year. And unfortunately, a couple things got in the way. Some more running out of town due to some health issues with family members. Different things like that. It pops up, life happens. Next thing I know, it's the holidays, and then one thing after another. I'm like, well, I'll just shut it down for the year, pick it up, at the start of the year, which is what we did. And yeah, if you heard last week episode with Jack, it was a great discussion. Jack had lots of good information about his background, his writing, and we talked a lot about his stories, the kind of stuff that goes into his stories, which I think you're going to really enjoy. So if you haven't checked out that episode yet, make sure you click the link in the show notes so you can you can go back and listen to that first to hear Jack's sample reading from his latest book, Wizard War: Rise of the Elf Twins. And that's a fantastic reading. Jack did a great job. You're going to really enjoy that. That's coming up here in just a couple more minutes. But anyway, I just kind of, the last year ended kind of rough. Although I did have some really fantastic events. I had one in Sedalia, Missouri that I was able to go to, and that was a fantastic event. I actually sold out of 9 Mile Bridge and nearly sold out of the first Bandit book. It went really good, had a great time, got a new Christmas jacket, saw the Grinch, and the Grinch was fantastic that was there. And it was a really good time. Looking forward to doing more events this year. Got a couple of big ones I'm throwing my hat in the ring, so to speak, to see if I can get there. And if I do, I'll make sure to let you know. As for my writing, again, throughout that holiday season, I was on again, off again. I did get some more writing done on that Direwolf story that I'm doing, Dire, and I've been back and forth also working on the Bandit prequel. The Bandit prequel is about 75% written. Essentially, I wrote it when I wrote the first book, and then it was all background information. That's when I realized, oh, I don't need all this stuff. I need to just get into the meat of the story for the Bandit. And so I set all this aside. So now I'm going back through it and I'm refocusing this as a new, background story of how Bandit came to be, what happened when the aliens attacked, all that kind of stuff. So if you ever had questions about what happened on that day, Elimination Day, how did Bandit find his hideout? Where did he get his car? The interaction, the fight that took place between his brother and Bandit's mortal enemy. All this is part of that stuff that took place. That's going to be taking place in this backstory prequel. So yeah, I'm just kind of going back, polishing it, adding some more, filling out some more information, and adding some more scenes. But it's about I'm about 75% done with that. I need to probably spend some time and just finish it so that way I can have it ready for one of these upcoming events. But I'm also doing, Jack and I talked about it last week. I'm also writing a short story for our writers group. We're working on a new PG-13 horror anthology that'll be coming out later this year. I think towards the end of the year, 2026. And I need to get at least the first draft of that done real soon and get it prepared. And I think I've settled on the story. I know what I'm going to be writing, and I'm about halfway done with the first draft of it. But I need to sit down and do work, finish that as well. So lots of good things that I'm working on, and can't wait to share these with you as they come available. Real quick, I do want to just give a quick shout out to a few other podcasts that I've been enjoying listening to. Of course, old friend of the show, George Sirois, and his show, Excelsior Journeys. George has been doing fantastic with his show. And ironically, when he began his show, he was, of course, ahead of me. And then I started my show and pulled out way ahead episode wise. And there for a long time, I was like way ahead of him on episodes. Now, with these breaks I keep running into due to life happening and such, he's pulled back just ahead of me again. So we're having this fun back and forth. But the Excelsior Journeys podcast is what George does, and that is a lot of fun information about creativity, really as a whole. Whether you're interested in, he's got some celebrity interviews, like people who did the Transformers movie, and I don't mean like the Michael Bay. I'm talking '80s cartoons. The Transformers. You got voiceover artists on there, writers, authors, uh, lots of fantastic creative experts on that show. So I invite you to check that out, and I'll put a link in the show notes for that. Another one that I've been really enjoying is another friend of the show, Steve Clark. You've heard Steve on the show a couple of times. He's come on talking about some of his books. And last year he began a podcast, a brand new show called Never Not Horror. And that's been a lot of fun to listen to. I'm really enjoying it. Most recently, he and his partner in crime did an episode on it was a deep dive on the Nightmare on Elm Street, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and that was fun. That really took me back. It's been a few years since I've watched that, so that was fun, and had a good time hearing that. And yeah, I invite you to check it out. And I think all of the episodes are pretty fresh, so they're because they're really neat. They do a deep dive about every other episode or so, but they also do a unique thing sometimes where they do a horror by the decade is what they call, and so they rank their own personal top 13 horror movies of that decade. So started in the 20 teens and then gone back from there. And that was what was been interesting about that is learning some of the movies that I thought were from one decade or another, and then finding out, oh, it's in this. And then, of course, reaching out to Steve and letting him know, hey, you missed this movie, you missed this movie, and uh, you know, been having fun talking to Steve about his show as well. Anyway, that is all I've got to share with you this time. Very happy to be back, and I'm really looking forward to sharing new episodes with you here real soon. Got new author interviews coming up, and some more great sample chapters. So, speaking of that, let's go ahead and hop on over to JC Ventimiglia with his sample chapter from Wizard War: Rise of the Elf Twins.
Hi, this is Chapter 3, Assassins, of my book, Wizard War: Rise of the Elf Twins. The setup of this coming-of-age novella, which includes a dozen illustrations, involves a palace coup that send a young prince and princess to the dungeon. While working to free themselves, they unwittingly release a vampire wizard. The twins escape the dungeon with the aid of a loyal sergeant. They hide out at his home, plan their next move, and go in search of an ally. Assassins. Nettie's nostrils fill with earthy onion and garlic aromas. They waft from a ceramic tureen. Between spoonfuls, she nibbles dark bread spread with warm, churned butter. The vegetable barley soup seems to strengthen Teleri. He is halfway through his third bowl. From the kitchen, Nettie views the adjoining clothing shop. She finds a spinning wheel, loom, fabric bolts, and 2 racks of finished clothes. Most clothes are plain, but wearing that party-colored samite dress in the shop window could make even a peasant girl appear regal. Furtive and ferocious green eyes study Nettie from the bedroom on the kitchen's far side. Hope Merriweather glares across the scrubbed oak floor at Teleri and Nettie at the table. Clutching her husband's arm, Hope asks in a hush, "Bill, will the elf boy turn?" Teleri looks up from his meal. and Hope ducks behind the door. Tell, Nettie knows how easily he could throw a royal tantrum over nothing. Remember who you are, Your Majesty. He cocks his head. Why Majesty instead of Highness? Highness is for royal family members, but Majesty is for reigning monarchs. That's what we are now, monarchs. A fate I wish on no one. I will do my best to act kingly. Teleri then addresses Merryweather's wife. Dame Merryweather, vampires may drain elves, but can't turn us as they do humans. Sergeant Merryweather wears a hangdog face, and Hope's lips droop. Little Grace and Anna peek from behind Hope's lacy, ankle-length blue dress. Grace, the 4-year-old, studies the strangers. Da, is they really king and queen of the Elfies? In a soft voice, Merryweather corrects Grace. Like their parents before them, they're king and queen of everyone who dwells in the Prism Kingdom, whether elf or human. 3-year-old Anna's face glows with sunlight coming in through the open kitchen window. She folds pudgy hands in front of her inquisitive face. "Me likes them earses." The girl's innocence shocks Nettie into a grin. "Want to touch them?" Timid at first, Anna creeps closer until tiny fingers test the tip of Nettie's left ear. Anna jumps back, giggling. "The point's bendy." Nettie cups Anna's face, and your cheeks are as soft as cupcakes. Sights fixed on Teleri, Grace says, "I want to touch 'em too." Teleri lets Grace, a spidery wisp of a girl, climb into his lap to pet his ears. He turns to Sergeant Merryweather. "Are your people ready to travel?" Many Midlanders are already en route to Elfheimerstad. "But not us." Hope's face burns. "That city's a hard trek north, at least for little ones and womenfolk. Is flight wise, Your Majesties?" Merryweather winces to hear his wife question the king and queen. "Hope!" Her tone matches her fierce stink eye. "I'm not you, Bill. I don't follow orders without question. We've kids to consider." Nettie intervenes. "Good lady, we've issued no order, but we suggest everyone leave now. In days of old, as bards remind us in their saddest songs, Mage Magus caged and raised humans as food and slaves. That is his nature." Grace hugs Teleri hard. "He'd gobble us like cornbread?" As if suppressing an emotional explosion, Hope stiffens. "Here we have a house. Walls, doors, safety, our livelihood. Outside the city, we'd be in the open, unhomed, refugees who—" "Your house," Nettie links compassion with quiet certainty, "cannot stop Magus." Merryweather hugs his wife. "Magus killed 3 barons and enthralled our officer corps. We don't want our children here when he turns his attention to civilians, do we?" Tears spill upon Hope's cheeks. She places her face against his chest. "We've known no home other than Midland for the sake of our babies. We'll leave." Jogging at a brisk pace beside Teleri, Nettie says, "I enjoyed the Merryweathers. Honest folk, cute kids. The sergeant's a lifesaver and Hope's as forthright as a hammer to a thumb. Change would still bind Magus if the barons had been half as loyal. Little Grace basked in your kingly magnificence, because she is brilliant." After an hour spent trotting east through Forest Verdant, the twins see neither Midland's stout polychrome walls and guard towers, nor the swirling triple spires of Palace Lorien. Nettie makes sure Teleri cannot see her cry for their parents. She must focus on the mission or lose the kingdom. At dusk, the twins trek along an overgrown path among centuries-old ash, oaks, and maples. Forest Verdant is dense, the scent thick with decay and growth. Trees display spring blossoms, and birds sing hopeful songs. Distant wolf howls keep the twins jogging through the evening and into the forest night. Before daybreak at the Prism Kingdom's eastern edge, the royals enter the wildlands. The tall grass prairie stretches across the Pixie Imperium. In the distance looms Firetop's crooked mouth, the torn lips silhouetted by a waxing gibbous. The swollen moon reminds Nettie of Hope's rounded belly. Her people travel by foot from Midland toward the city of Elfheimerstadt. The bigoted regent, an elf named Thrax, governs the city. King Roland kept the elf's disrespect for humans in check, but the king is dead. Nettie shares Taliri's concern that Thrax might deny refuge to human refugees. Taliri grumbles, I thought we'd have at least several decades before having to take on such responsibilities. There's so much to consider, too much. I don't want to rule. I get it. Our decisions, right or wrong, could get people hurt, even killed. But what choice? Whoa! Time slows. Nettie's gaze focuses on a blonde arrow. Moonlight glints along the honed, triangular edge. Hawk feather fletching dusts under her pert nose as the arrow passes. Thieves! Taliri tackles his sister, bringing her down within chest-high grass. The royals slither away among dewy stems and roots, leaving no hint of a path in their wake. A man at the forest edge calls, come out, children. It'll get ugly if you hide. Nettie plucks grass from her hair. Does he think we'd show ourselves after that arrow nearly took off my nose? Knowing who we are, they still tried to kill us. They're not thieves. They're assassins sent by Magus. We can hide for now, but it'll be light soon. What should we do? I can try singing to the grass? Taliri scowls. A joke? Ha! She scowls right back. A binding song. You think you're ready for that? I've been honing my songs with Lord Springleaf. If I see our pursuers, then my binding song will work. I guarantee it. He studies her purple eyes before answering, do it. Before Nettie says she needs a moment to prepare, Taliri lopes through the grass. She lifts her head, finding two men standing with arrows targeting Taliri's back. The Prism Kingdom's foremost herbalist, Hale Springleaf, taught Nettie plant songs. He urged her to start each song with a warm greeting, but urgency limits such pleasantries. She hopes her song satisfies nature, but nothing happens. Arrows whiz past the zigzagging Taliri. Please, she makes an urgent appeal to the grass. My brother's life is at stake. Stems spring to life, wrapping and twisting away the assassin's bows while tying and dragging the humans to their knees. They flail, snared by the grass in answer to Nettie's song. Taliri returns to join Nettie in approaching the failed killers. The men appear feral, straining at their bonds and panting. The gray-bearded soldier acts as if he's suffocating. Nettie shakes her head. The old one's Marshal Patan. What a waste of his skills as a strategist. His skills are not our concern. Taliri draws Patan's ornate sword. Regicide is. Doubting Patan can breathe well enough to talk, Nettie addresses the younger soldier. The man does not answer. She smacks his face. Twice. No effect. I doubt he even noticed I hit him. The wizard enthralls these men. Just the same, if we leave them, they'll chase us again. Maybe it's best. He puts the sword to Patan's throat. You'll do no such thing. What choice do we have? Speak to them. I've seen you control other animals. Humans are not dogs or rabbits. Their minds are stronger. Their wills don't. Doubt yourself, Tell. You can do it. I wish I had your confidence. Taliri takes a knee beside the younger soldier. You're jackdaw. Corporal Basil Jackdaw, I remember you, but not just from the dungeon yesterday. When I was 9, you showed me Underhaw. I found that low-angle sword attack useful against taller opponents. Listen, Basil, calm yourself. Only binding grass prevents the growling corporal from biting the young elf. Teleri gives Nettie a stare. So much for speak. Nettie tilts her head. Try harder. In a more controlled voice, Teleri orders, Basil, eyes on me. The corporal squeezes his eyes shut. Teleri uses a thick I told you so tone. Dogs listen better. She urges, again. Reacting to Nettie's bossiness, he commands, Basil, look at me. Basil stops thrashing and gnashing, his eyes open. More surprised than Nettie, Teleri asks his sister, "Oh, now what?" Ignoring the itch spreading from ankle to knee along her right calf, she suggests, "Tell him to stop listening to Magus, obviously." Teleri says Nettie could be nicer, then focuses on the man. "Snap out of it, Basil. Your family needs you." Knots fade from Basil's face. His blue eyes regain their natural luster, but his breathing sounds erratic. King Teleri? Queen Nettie? What? At Nettie's request, the grass frees Basil. She advises her twin, help Marshal Patan. Patan roars in Magus's voice, "Ingrates! I let you live, but you're back from hell and conspiring against me." Nettie counters, "Toxic air pollutes that dungeon. You don't need to breathe, vampire, but we do. That poisoned air was killing us." Teleri orders, "Marshal Patan, heed me." "No, elfling, he's mine." "Marshal Patan, as your rightful king, I order you to cast Magus from your soul." Patan's eyes bulge. He gags, strangling. His face changes from a crimson boil to cyanotic blue. Foam bubbles from his lips as he withers like a worm on a red-hot coals. After a few grisly moments of choking and writhing, the prison kingdom's top officer lies dead. The king's lips draw back. His eyes fill as he takes his sister's hand. "I caused this." "No, you did not," Nettie reassures him. "Patan's death is on Magus." Basil gasps for air. "Does the same fate await me?" Teleri shakes his head. "No. In you, the wizard's evil song is unsung." Nettie offers the soldier her canteen. "Take slow breaths and drink. You're dehydrated." Feeling drained. Where is this? That mountain to the north is Firetop. Firetop? Strange things happen in that mountain shadow. Why, here. Teleri lets out a sigh. Don't ask.
All right, everyone, that was J.C. Ventimiglia reading a sample chapter from his latest book, Wizard War, Rise of the Elf Twins. Hey, that book is available right now. You can order it on Amazon. I've got links in the show notes where you can order that. You can also follow Jack with the links in there. And don't forget to check out last week's episode if you didn't hear his interview already. Make sure you also hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out next time when I'm back with a new author, a new book, and a brand new sample chapter. Take care, everybody.